So as you're building something, you want to understand what people actually want.
From humble beginnings, Insurance Claim HQ has grown to one of the largest property casualty firms in the country. We didn't do it alone, and you shouldn't either. Every week, we're talking to claims professionals and top experts from all over, all to help you grow your business and make you stronger. Let's level up together. I'm Galen Hare. Welcome to the Level Up Claims Podcast.
Today's guest is Sam Ryan, CEO and co-founder of Flocksy, a creative subscription platform that helps businesses get scalable, high-quality creative work without traditional overhead. Sam is passionate about building production-first companies where automation amplifies human creativity instead of replacing it. We'll talk about how thoughtful systems, smart workflows, and the right use of AI can help any team, whether lawyers, contractors, or claims professionals, tell better stories, grow more efficiently, and focus on the work that matters most. Let's meet Sam. I'm Galen Hare. If you're serious about winning in this industry, June 12th of 2026 matters. The Level Up Claim Summit brings together serious operators who want to sharpen their edge and separate from the pack. No fluff, no vendor circus, just real conversations with people who are actually moving this industry forward. Seats are intentionally limited. We keep the room exclusive. Once the room is full, registration closes. If you're ready to compete at a higher level, don't wait. Go to levelupclaim.com and request your seat now. I'll see you on June 12th. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Galen. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, I'm super pumped to talk to you today. It's going to be great. I want to talk about how Flocksy kind of became this idea for you. What was the aha eureka moment?
So if we go back, we've had Flocksy for about a decade now. We started it in 2016. And before that, I went to college for computer science, and my brother and I had started another tech company called Hatchwise, and I had coded the whole thing from scratch. So I knew from like the time I was 16 that I did not want to work like a traditional job or something like that. So after college, I continued working with him with Hatchwise, which was basically a logo contest site where you could submit a brief and then designers would submit designs and then you'd pick the best and pay them an award basically. And as we scaled that up, we noticed we're using Upwork and freelancer.com to get like design done, marketing done. And there was a moment when I was like, this is like not incredibly efficient because sometimes the budget goes up a lot, sometimes it goes down. And like I was like, it's not consistent work. You're working with different people. You get like find one person you like on Upwork and all of a sudden they're gone. So there was this moment I was like, we need to just, what if we packaged everything into a subscription-based company so that people could budget, they get the same team member, and they get tons of like design work and they can submit whatever they wanted, and they get a team of designers, video editors, and so on working on their projects. So that was in 2015. We had the idea and we launched and it like took off. We immediately got a lot of customers. And basically, how it works is you sign up, you pay a subscription fee, and you get access to a team, a creative team, and they do all the work for you. And this allows companies to budget, so they can say, okay, we have different tiers, but they can pretty much budget. They get whatever they need done. Some days they have a lot, some days they don't. They just submit their projects, and the creative team works on their projects, and it's also pretty affordable. So that was pretty much the moment. It was one of those things where we actually had a need for it. And so that helped us come up with the actual idea.
So tell me about the challenging of like sourcing those teams, because I think individual companies, that's their biggest challenge, right? Is,
Mm.
hey, I need all these different things. I can go to all these different third-party sources. I can try to hire. If I try to hire, then I have to try to get like a, all-in-one kind of person, and obviously quality goes down. So I get it there, but you don't have, I guess, that constraint because each type of creative that you hire can serve multiple customers. But what about like sourcing those teams? I assume you're not all working in a big office. So how did you kind of structure a remote culture where you could identify these people and then have them collaborate?
So In the beginning, we created a really like we focused on the culture, and it's all remote with the teams. They can work from anywhere, and we have so we focused on making sure one they were passionate, creativity, and making sure they actually like enjoyed doing what they do. And that was over just some of the credentials, and we saw that helped a lot, like from the beginning, because if you focus on just talent, you'll get talented people, but it doesn't mean they'll work well with other people. It doesn't mean they'll do a good job necessarily with different clients. So with us, we focused a lot on the personality, on making sure they were like motivated, that they actually enjoyed what they were doing. And the skills obviously had to be there, but we really focused on like quality people that like doing what they do. And that helped us build the company to where we're at now. And like you said, that was they work with multiple clients. Some of them, sometimes they work with just one client, depending on the plan the client has. But they get to actually know their clients and they get to juggle their clients. They have to be good at like communication. They have to be good at organizational skills, some of the basics. So the main thing was just making sure they were quality people. They knew the basics. They were self-motivated, and a lot of times the skills did come in after we helped train them. A good example is with AI. And everything. That was a big challenging moment for us because in 2022, ChatGPT was launched. And because we had this team of like self motivated people and not like bots or just people just doing what they're told to basically, we were able to integrate AI into the system. And how we did it is we said, here are the tools. You get time to study stuff and learn AI and everything. And they took that and ran with it. And it helped us actually stay above the competition because we had these people that were just, it wasn't like we just like, they hated their job or they were just like, especially if you have somebody that's seen the senior level of quality, sometimes it's difficult for them to like, okay, I have to learn something brand new. And because we had focused on it like innovation from the beginning, AI was completely different, but it did help a lot with the team being like, okay, I'm going to take AI, and they ran with it. And like now the team knows AI and how to use it like really well.
Well, let's talk about AI for a second because that's one of the differentiators. I do a lot of AI, have a lot of AI companies, and you're not really an AI company
Yeah.
because you and I actually have similar philosophies towards AI, which is, I think, hopefully, otherwise I'm going to sound dumb. Um, I I believe at least, and I think you do, that AI and automation should augment human skills and
Mhm.
creativity, not replace them. Is that where you're at?
Absolutely. Yeah, and so that was actually a pivotal moment for me personally as a CEO and founder is when ChatGPT came out. And we still have quite a few people saying it, but especially like for the first couple of years, everybody was saying the next 3 years, humans will be replaced. AI is going to take over everything. And especially if you go on YouTube or something where the clickbait's huge, it's like, okay, it looks like the end is pretty close. And so I took a step back and I was like, AI, like, what is it actually good at? And the things it was good at was a lot of like bot like things. It was good at like data. It was good at creating like simple mock-ups. It was good at simplifying processes, but it wasn't good at empathy. It wasn't good at communication. It wasn't good at creativity. And I personally don't think we'll get that anytime soon. I know that might not be a popular
I don't think
opinion,
so
but
either.
yeah, and people say AGI is around the corner. A lot of this is it's in their best interest to say that. If you're Sam Altman, you're going to say that to get more funding. So there's a lot of conflicts of interest when you like hear something like that and like this like it's so powerful. But because of that, in 2022, it was a process. But I told the whole team. So the biggest taking a step back, if you run a company with a lot of people, we have over 100 different creatives with us. Everybody has a different reason for not wanting to use AI. One of the most common ones is fear, and that's what we ran into. So people would be afraid that was going to replace them, so they just wouldn't want to even use it. So a lot of it was educating the team and saying, "Hey, it's not going to replace you. If you use it now and get ahead, you'll be ahead not just with Flocksy, but in your career as a whole. And it's not going away. So you need to learn it." So that's what we did with the team is we kind of told them, hey, this is going to complement you And because I firmly believe that, it helped a lot. So the whole culture was use it as like use it however you can to be more productive, to focus on what you enjoy doing. And not everybody uses it the same. There are common things like Adobe integrated it, so if you're creating mockups and stuff, you can use that. But when it comes to like ChatGPT or however they use it, everybody uses it kind of differently. But the main focus is, can I do what I do best? Create. If somebody wants to focus on creativity, if somebody hates doing the mockups, they can send over a quick mockup that's AI, and then focus on the finished product. But yeah, so a lot of it is it's a collaboration, and I don't ever see that going away.
I could not agree more. I think that is absolutely it. I mean, good people that think, that are driven, that take your business to heart can be augmented and aided by tools that let them work faster,
Mhm,
right? And look, I'm relatively safe in the legal field ish,
mhm,
right? AI is doing research at breaking paces. They're also getting in trouble for making cases
mhm.
up, but they're doing research much faster. They're writing documents much faster, right? But the proper AI usage, and I think Flocksy seems to take this approach. For me, like an attorney called me perfect testimonial of this AI system we put in that helps evaluate documents and cases, read the cases, and even provide
Mhm,
recommendations. But I made every attorney sign a paper being like, this is not a substitute for your
mhm,
professional judgment, right? This attorney calls and goes, oh my God, this is so amazing. So I wait.
mhm.
Is she gonna say, "So I basically stopped working, I'm going home early?" She's like, "Now, as soon as I get something from the other side, I get it uploaded and I get my thought process started, and I'm able to respond and think so much faster because I don't have to sit down and waste as much time trying to think about next steps. I can get all this and I can read it, and then I can read its conclusions and see if I agree with it, right?" Um, and that helps you go faster, but you guys strike me as having a unique challenge, which is you can use AI to augment tasks, but you're dealing with creative workflows, both
Mhm.
internally and externally, right? So you've got your own internal creative workflows. But for your customers, your clients, how do you suggest they structure creative processes so like they're getting tasks to you guys, et cetera, timely in a way that supports and doesn't distract from those core operations of your customers?
So how do the clients themselves send over the work to us, basically? How can they streamline that process?
Yeah, how do they streamline that? Because one of the pitfalls I think
Mm,
with using any service like Flocksy across different industries is we
mm,
get it, and I've been the biggest culprit of this.
mm,
I purchased the service and I'm like, this is going to be great for our company,
mm.
but then I realized that I've got to have a system for getting work to you,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, I end up not even getting work to you, and it just becomes one more line item that I need to cut out of my budget. So how should your customers treat kind of getting work over to Flocksy or something in terms of their work process so they can still focus on their
Mm.
core operations and kind of get the biggest benefit that you guys have to offer?
That's actually a great point. And so one of our KPIs, like one of our metrics we look at is how many recurring tasks we have. And a recurring task is something that like social media posts, where the client says, can you create 3 social media posts a day or a week for me? And send them over. So what we try doing is we try having the team do as much as they can behind the scenes, where the client submits it once and then it's done again and again, and we encourage clients to do that too. So a lot of it is our processes we update on our side to make it so the client has to do less on their side. A good example is posting on social media. We noticed that a lot of clients, a big chunk, it was about 25% of projects run in the last quarter were done our social media posts. So we were like, okay, so a client has to ask for it, and then they have to go post it. So they have to do two things to get that done. And as soon as they get busy, they stop and they stop using us, and the whole thing comes to a halt. What if we actually do the social media posting for them? So we added that on as a service, and all of a sudden, clients can now say, can you create 3 social media posts, send them over in Slack for me to just approve, and then go upload them to our social media platform. And that allows them to, we removed one whole step from them. So a lot of this is one, integrating into their platforms. So we integrate to Slack, Monday, Microsoft Teams, whatever they're using. They can also post projects on our platform, but we allow them to use whatever is the easiest. And then two, we encourage them to actually create as many like tasks that just kind of go on autopilot as possible so that it runs behind the scenes, or even bigger projects. So like, can you create a marketing campaign for Google Ads? And so it might be display ads, it might be YouTube videos and stuff. And then we create all that, and all they're doing is approving it. And the more we can do where they're just approving it and not actually like going back and forth, the better. So that means less revisions, more just sending over final things for them, and then post it whenever we can. And in this case, social media posting.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I agree. The more you take off of those, because yeah, the more steps I have as a customer, the harder it is for me to use your product, right? Let's talk about some of those wins. I don't normally do this, but I guess I've done this with the last couple of companies that have come on. Can you show us some like, or talk to us about some tangible wins from some clients that are okay with you sharing their info?
Yes. So some tangible wins. I honestly, with we have like thousands of clients, so I haven't dug into any clients recently right now that I could like actually say. So with that, I might not have like an exact case study. I'd have to like look that up. I can talk about wins as a company as a whole that we've done, but with like specific clients, I don't have anything on that side.
That's fine. Yeah, just give us a flavor for kind of what you're accomplishing for your clients today. You gave an example about a social media post, but how that really affects the company's operations, I think, is a little abstract, right?
Yeah, so a good example would be we, like I said, we integrate into their team, into their team and their platform. So with most cases, so taking a step back, something I didn't mention is with AI, we actually built a whole platform from the ground up again, because in 2016 we had a whole dev team and the platform got incredibly complicated. And then when 2022 came around, we were like, okay, at this point, the platform had like 20 different features. Clients were constantly complaining about like, why do I need this? It's so difficult to post a project. So we built the whole platform from the ground up using AI and a small team to actually focus on what clients wanted. And that was being able to post projects, being able to get work done and connect with the team. So with that, we were able to then integrate with the clients, and that helped improve their workflow, that helped improve their process as a whole. And in the end, the whole platform became just a place like to post a project, all their projects, and then they would communicate in whatever platform they have. So when it came to helping the companies with their operational flow, the best feedback we've gotten from clients is about 50% have integrated in their platform, Slack, Microsoft Teams, and we actually become a part of their team where they feel like they're talking to a coworker. And before AI, it was more about using our platform and just communicating with the team on the platform, and it felt separate. It didn't feel like we actually were integrated. So with the clients have definitely, that's one of the biggest things they've loved over the past couple of years, is being able to feel like the Flocksy team is their team integrated into their platform.
That makes sense. And that's huge, I think, right? Because yeah, I mean, I could have told you what your clients wanted in your platform, right? Which is easiest possible
Mhm.
situation to communicate, right? The less systems, the better. Let's talk about, so you are a co-founder of Flocksy, you're an entrepreneur. And not your first. I think you mentioned you built
Mhm.
something from the ground up at 16. But life is changing. You don't strike me as particularly old, but you know, we continue to age. What are some of the biggest challenges out there for new founders today, do you think?
So it has completely changed. In 2016, it was way more, even before that, it was way more about the technical, like understanding technical aspects. I would say it's definitely pivoted over to soft skills. You need to kind of understand how people think and how they operate, and you need to actually solve a problem and then connect with people. Because it's so easy to spin up a platform now, or spin up like an app or whatever it is. There are a million different apps, million different businesses, and what people are really craving is that personal touch where they feel connected with you. So if I was to give advice to somebody right now, it'd be less on the technical side and more about understanding how people operate, because people have so many bots in their lives, AI agents, all there's so much AI and stuff. When they want to even if it's an app, even if it has nothing to do with humans, they still want to feel that connection. So as you're building something, you want to understand what people actually want. So I would say focus on the soft skills, focus on creativity, focus on connecting with people, all of those, and less on the technical side of things.
I could not agree more. The tech has changed so much, right? And with
Mm,
this whole vibe coding idea and AI assisting with coding, even when it's not, I hate that term vibe coding,
mhm,
right? Because I think it, I think it takes away from the coding skills that are involved even in
mhm,
finalizing that. But nevertheless, we'll use it to be fair to these people. But it's so easy to rip someone else's idea off.
mhm,
You can kind of run into an app or something you like, and if you have enough technical skill, which does not have to be enough technical skill to build it from the ground up,
mm,
you can get a functioning prototype that will need less R&D dollars to finalize than it would have been for someone else that built it from the ground up. So I think, yeah, I agree. I think you need to have tech knowledge. I think so many of these new
mm,
startups really don't have tech knowledge, and
mm,
they don't seem to know how their own platforms, especially in the AI world. I say this
mm,
because what a lot of people have done is built essentially plugins that are purchasing tokens from the
mhm,
existing LLMs,
mm.
and they don't even understand what their system does. They just
Yeah.
understand kind of what service it's offering. But I do think you're right. It's the dealing with people, and no one can do what you're doing without some people skills, right? Because it's not
Mm,
just you're not just providing AI marketing and creative services, you're providing
mm.
AI augmented creative teams. So you still have to manage those people. And I think so many people are leaving that behind in the dust, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's also you can see constantly how many startups disappear overnight when the LLM comes out with some new improvement, and it's so if you are somebody that is starting a business, I would say focus on what you're passionate about and be ready to pivot at any moment, because if you're trying to build something, you don't know if Claude or Gemini or OpenAI is gonna come out and completely rip it off in 2 seconds, so you need to quickly pivot. So being able to pivot and being passionate about like the core of what you're doing would be something I would it is also incredibly useful.
Hey, I could not agree more. Um, let's talk about some practical tips in the few minutes we
Mhm,
got left. All right, so lawyers, contractors, public adjusters,
mm,
right? They're listening to this episode. They say, "Cool, Sam seems like a nice enough dude. Flocksy seems like it might do something." But I've always kind of handled my own creative because that's my voice, and I'm a small
mm.
company. Um, how how could this kind of platform be helpful to one of them?
Yeah, so it depends on what they're looking for. I would say across the board, we have learned how to use all the AI tools to boost productivity, to boost creativity. So when you're hiring us, you're not using just Claude or whatever it is to come up with a design or come up with copy or whatever. You actually have a human behind it. So if you're looking for an actual, like for marketing materials or something that has actual like emotions behind it that stands out from everybody else. You probably seen recently. There's so many like ads that come out that have a typo or something. It's like I know that ChatGPT wrote that. That had no human oversight at all. And so with us, you're hiring a team that is like being pushed by AI. That's using AI to actually stand out. So if you're looking for like actual work and you don't have the time to do it, marketing materials, websites, all brochures, whatever it is, and you want a human doing that's creative and going to make your design stand out from the crowd, that's when you would come use us.
That makes complete sense. And, I think that's important because people say, "Well, I don't know what I'd have them do for me." You do have to kind of
Mm,
figure out what your creative workflow looks like. That's not really Floxy's role. Floxy's role is to get the creative done for you
mm,
once you figure out what you want your creative to be and what your
mm,
creative needs are. And I think at that point, but case in point, you could come up with an idea for a seminar today, use AI to help you figure out what the timing would look like, what the topics, what the speakers would be. You then would need to refine that yourself. And then you could upload kind of all this information to Flocksy and say, I need programs designed, I need handbooks, I need flyers, I need social media posts, I need
mm.
all these things. And you guys could do all of the creative surrounding that, right?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, that's actually a good point. So not only can we do that, but the team suggests new stuff. So I wouldn't say that you have to come to Flocksy with every single thing laid out. A good example is you might sign up and be like, I need a brochure, but you need a branding guide. If you actually have a company, you want a nice branding guide. So the team might say, hey, I'm going to create a branding guide, and maybe you don't have a logo that you love. They'll create a logo, and the team works with you to actually come up with ideas to help your business grow. Another example would be, can I get some Facebook ads? Oh, did you know the video team can take those and make them motion graphics? Well, we can create a video ad for Facebook that has a way better ROI than a regular static image. So if we try encouraging, like, this is the type of stuff you should create, and the team works with you to come up with ideas. But you are right, you do need that initial need of like ongoing support of some kind. If it's just like one brochure, we're probably not a good fit, because that, I will be honest, you should go to Upwork or something. But if you want ongoing creative support, and you're looking for like consistency, quality, nice graphics that you need on a regular basis, that's where Flocksy comes in, and we can help create new content or come up with ideas. But you do need that starting point.
Yeah, I even saw, it wasn't ours, but I saw a conference where it was that you guys had actually helped, obviously, with the creative surrounding the conference, like I just gave
Mm,
the example,
mm,
but even things like, oh, you should send us a picture of the room. You should put a banner here. You should put a banner there. You should put this over
mm,
here. Do
mm,
you want us to design those things? Do you want us to design table covers?
mm,
And you guys did suggest things, and it was pretty cool because I saw photos from the conference I
mm,
actually couldn't attend, and they
mm,
were all beautiful.
yeah,
And it turned out you guys had done a lot of the creative, so it was pretty neat.
yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
Sam, before you go, because we're
Mhm.
just about out of time, I do have to ask you, what does it mean to you to level up?
That's a great question. So for me, for leveling up, it's not just about business. I focus on family, health, friends, and business. And I've always focused on a strong foundation, because you don't know what could disappear. So if business disappears, you have your family, friends, and health. If health disappears, unfortunately, you have the others. So for me, it's focusing in every day, improving all of those at the same speed. And some will go faster. Sometimes your career goes up, and you have to sacrifice friends a little bit. But in the end, you want to have all four of those, so that you know that if something goes wrong, you can always fall back on the other three.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it's been such a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice being on here. I'll talk to you later.
I'd like to thank Sam Ryan for joining us on the podcast. You kind of have heard this same theme come in over and over again, even though no one really attacks it directly. When Sam was asked what it means to level up, he talked about four things: his family, his friends, his work, and his health. Again, yet another entrepreneur who's been around the block and is now focused on maintaining balance in their life. What are you doing to maintain balance in your life? It's okay to be in growth mode, but at some point you need to take care of you as a person. Follow us on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to the show if you want more conversations like this. And if you're serious about operating at a higher level, join us June 12th at the Level Up Claim Summit. Limited seats, exclusive room. Request your invitation at levelupclaim.com.